I thought that focusing only on good feeling thoughts would help me become the new me, but instead something surprising happened. I met the old me and she was putting up a fight. So I wouldn't exactly say that this 4-week growth challenge led me to change the way I think, but it revealed what has secretly been holding me back from happiness and enjoying the present moment most of my life. So here are my final reflections and life lessons after 4 weeks of getting to know my thoughts. It has already been 4 weeks of my personal growth experiment, so it has come to an end, and I'm sitting here with my notes in front of me, my final reflections of what I actually learned during these 4 weeks. And I have to say, this personal growth challenge did not turn out the way I expected it to. And let us just start by my opening plan or my main hypothesis that I had while going into this experiment 4 weeks ago. And that was that the more space I give to the new true me that I want to step into, the less space there will be left for the old me that I want to outgrow. And the way I was going to test that hypothesis was by focusing more on good feeling thoughts aligned with the new me, more than actually challenging and changing the negative unwanted beliefs of the old me. So put in more of the good stuff to make less space for the bad stuff, right? But did that happen? Both yes and no, I would say. Maybe more no, but it will lead to a yes. So let me just try to explain what I mean by that, because here is what I actually learned or what actually happened. The old me that I thought would be given less and less space in this challenge, she really put up a fight. I have to say, I have gotten to know the old me more than I think I ever did. Sorry, I just need a sip of water. And I think there's two main reasons for that. The first reason is that maybe I scared her. Because if I call the old me my ego that holds all of the beliefs that I don't want anymore or don't think that's serving me anymore, the ego needs to continue in its old patterns to survive, right? So when I started this challenge, I think that the ego old me got scared and thought, how will I survive? You will just cancel me, and I don't want to be cancelled, so let me give you more of me. That's what I think is the first reason why she was so strong in my head. And the other reason, I think, is probably because I just noticed her more. Because of my challenge that was about picking good feeling thoughts, that naturally leads to me noticing my thoughts more in general, right? So, but yeah, she was definitely in the picture. And I have to sum up by saying that the ego or the old me is way more present in me than I ever thought when I first started this challenge. And the more I tried to actively fight her by using my mind, by using my thoughts, the bigger and stronger she grew. And that's also a main lesson that I've been talking about earlier in this experiment, is that I can't get there from there. I can't change my thoughts by using my thoughts in the same moment where my thoughts make me feel bad. Because I cannot focus on things that feel bad and then feel good at the same time, right? But yeah, the more she fought back, so I have gotten to know the old me more than I've gotten to know the new me, which is kind of the opposite of what I thought when I started this experiment. And because of that, I also realized something very important for me moving forward, which is that I am barely ever present. I am barely ever in the present moment because I live in my mind. I live in my thoughts. So living in my mind means that my mind doesn't experience the present moment because it's always dwelling somewhere in the past or future, right? So it's nearly impossible for me to enjoy the present moment because I'm never there. I'm always here or there. And I didn't realize how bad it was up there, but I knew I had these challenges, right? But it was almost scary. I am never in the present moment. Sorry, it's just me flipping my notes, trying to keep some structure. So that was kind of surprising to me, right? I wasn't aware that this was such a big problem for me to be in the present moment. But what that surprise taught me is that I learned that I didn't really know the old me that I wanted to outgrow before. I just knew that the old me didn't feel as good as I wanted to do most of the time, so I knew that there was this new me that felt better. That was the baseline of what I knew about old me and new me. But I didn't really know the old me that deeply, as in I didn't know what it looked like, how it was working, and what it was telling me all of the time that didn't make me feel good. Because what I knew is that my thoughts lead to the way I feel, and my thoughts can either make me feel good or bad, right? But I didn't know what kind of thoughts that was up there all of the time. I had a hunch, but I didn't know. So this surprise that I got by getting to really know the old me actually opened my eyes, and it also told me or taught me that in order for me to grow into something new, I need to know what exactly it is that I want to outgrow, right? I need to know what these old and negative beliefs and thoughts that are no longer serving me, what they're actually saying. And I know that now. I have seen how overwhelmed and stressed out I get by my thoughts. They are constantly telling me everything that I need to do, everything that I need to tend to, that I don't have enough time, that I'm wondering how I'm gonna make things happen or this and that. I know what the old me looks like now. And only by knowing what it is I actually want to outgrow can I get the clarity I need to know what it is I want to grow into. Because now I know that new me is the absence of the thoughts and beliefs reoccurring in the old me. So I know that the new me looks opposite of the old me, kind of. And yes, it's difficult to step into this new me if I don't really know what she looks like. But now I know that. So yeah, I guess I could say that focusing on feeling good actually made me feel kind of worse, you know? And I don't think that was because my thoughts were worse during this 4-week period. I think it was because I actually truly, for the first time in my life, really noticed my thoughts. And in turn, that led to me experiencing this kind of sorrow or grief, because I then realized what I have actually been doing to myself for most of my life. I am doing this to myself. I am giving myself these negative emotions by letting my mind, the old me, my ego mind, control my focus. And then my focus is always on lack of something, worry about something, trying to fix something in the past, or trying to make something happen in the future, but never right here in the present moment. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to swallow that. I have to take full responsibility for the way I've been feeling, because I have put myself there by just accepting these thoughts, by listening to these thoughts and then acting as if they are my reality. It doesn't feel good to realize I've been doing that to myself. But at the same time, it feels good taking responsibility for it, because the moment I take responsibility for how I've been feeling by seeing that my mind focus put me there, I can also take full responsibility for how I will be feeling from here on out, because knowing that my thoughts lead to how I feel, and up until now they haven't really made me feel good, I can change that. And I can also know that nothing or no one but myself holds the power over me to affect how good I feel, because I am in control of that. And I haven't been, because I've been stuck in autopilot mode, ego mode, old me mode. But now that I'm so aware of how those thoughts and that mode has made me feel, it will be easier for me to move on from here. Because spending 4 weeks with my mind like this, you just get to see yourself in a whole different way. And yeah, I would say it was a good thing that this experiment actually kind of made me feel worse, because we often don't want to see these sides about ourselves, right? And that's also how the ego can survive, is by kind of just going under the radar. And by going unnoticed, it can just live on and keep feeding our minds these negative thoughts and beliefs. So if we don't truly look at ourselves, like truly get to know ourselves and what is happening up there most of the time, how can we change it? How can we change what we don't know? How can we change what we are unaware of? We just can't. So it made me feel worse, but in a good way. It's definitely a necessary first step in becoming the new and true me. Because now I know what's going on up there, and only by knowing that can I actually change it. So I just want to talk about the greatest lesson these 4 weeks have taught me. And I started off this challenge with a belief that it's not what I do or don't do that affects the way I feel. It's what I think about and how I think about the things that I do or don't do. That was a baseline for this experiment. And I have to say, this challenge has really proven that that belief is 100% correct, because I have been continuing to think in a negative way, think in a stressful way, and that has made me feel bad, right? But I just thought that I would kind of prove that belief the other way around by focusing on good feeling thoughts and then feeling good. But it just seems like I couldn't focus on that quite yet, because I needed to know what was actually going on up there, right? So the biggest lesson I've learned is that that belief is true. It is my thoughts about everything that leads to my emotions, that leads to my life experience, not the actual happenings, but my thoughts about them, or the lack, my thoughts about the lack of them, right? That is true. I can conclude 100% with the fact that that is true. And also, the biggest lesson I learned from myself is, even though I know that is true, that at the same time seems to be the hardest belief to make my mind comprehend, to make my mind internalize and actually believe in. And that's interesting. And maybe that's the struggle of old me, new me again, right? Like, new me really knows that, but old me doesn't want to believe it. And of course, I get why. Because my whole life, our whole lives probably, we've been taught that action and doing things and being productive and using our minds to be clever and prepare for things and all of that, that's the way to go about life. That's how we prepare for life, right? But new me knows that, well, that's maybe how I miss out on life that is happening right here and now. Because if I'm always fixing things in the past or preparing for things in the future, I won't even notice what's happening right here and right now, where I am in this moment. And this new me also knows that in the present moment, there is nothing wrong. There is nothing that I need, because I have everything I need in the present moment. Because all of the thoughts I have about needing something is when I'm stuck in the future or the past. That's when I need something. But right here in this moment, I don't. I have everything I need to feel good. But the challenge is to stay there, right? So, my conclusion from this 4-week challenge, I still believe in my hypothesis. I believe that my hypothesis about filling my head with thoughts aligned with new me will give less and less space to old me is definitely true. But I forgot something important, an important step towards getting there, which was to actually get to know the part that I wanted to outgrow, so that I could more clearly see who I wanted to grow into. So I definitely believe in my hypothesis, but there was this step that I needed to do before I can get to actually focusing on thoughts aligned with new me. I needed to know what new me doesn't look like, what the thoughts of new me are the opposite from, right? I know that now. So it's kind of like I needed to know both versions of me before I can actually choose one to focus on from here on out. And speaking of which, from here on out, how will I move forward? I would say that because of this challenge, I now have the clarity I need as what my new me looks like, that I can actually choose to focus on from this point. So my growth challenge is definitely not finished. It has actually just begun, and it's after these 4 weeks I can finally start to focus on new me, right? And the fact that I now know what new me definitely is not will make it easier to tell when it's old me speaking in my mind and when it is new me speaking in my mind. And that's a quite important step while I move on from here, because if I don't know which is which, if I just accept my thoughts, I will be identified with my thoughts and I will just accept that as my reality, right? But by knowing, oh, this is old me speaking and this is new me speaking, it's like the first step towards me stopping identifying with my thoughts all of the time. And that reminded me of a very powerful quote I once read from Eckhart Tolle. I need to read it. He says, "Watching the thinker is the beginning of the end of compulsive thinking." Wow, because I am compulsively thinking. And something about watching the thinker, I really like that, because when we watch the person who thinks, we are no longer identifying ourselves with the thoughts. We are just observing them. And only and first when we are observing our thoughts is when we can stop just blindly accepting those thoughts as our reality. Then we actually have a choice, and then we actually give ourselves a choice to use our thoughts on purpose and to use them wisely, to use them productively. And that's the whole thing, isn't it? I haven't been using my thoughts productively, although I have on some level, old me level, thought that it's me being productive as I think about the past and the future like this, because I will fix things, I will prepare for things, all of that. But it's not productive, as in making me feel good, as in leading me to take action from a step, from a mind state of feeling good. It is just me thinking about things that are not here in the moment, things that I cannot control, and things that leads to me stressing out and feeling bad. So from here on out, I will observe the thinker, and to make it easier for new me to come out in the light more often, I will actually give them names, so that when I observe the thinker, I can say that, oh, that is old me Olga speaking. New me Nelly, what are your thoughts about this? I think I'm onto something there. And yes, my self-growth challenge has just begun, and this is how I will focus on new me Nelly from now on. To help new me Nelly get more airtime in my mind radio, I will challenge myself by asking myself these questions that only new me Nelly can truly answer. Because in order for me to answer these questions, I cannot stay in the past or future in a negative way. I can only answer from new me Nelly, because these will be questions leading me straight to the core of this new me, of my inner being, of where I want to be, of the present moment. And I will make these questions by using tools like coaching tools and processes and quotes. I am a big collector of quotes, and I love coming across quotes like Eckhart Tolle, for example, that just opens my eyes and makes me instantly just, wow, this is what it's all about. So I will use these things that has had a great impact on me and that has made me feel better in the past while I've been using it. I will use these things and turn them into questions and ask myself these questions that only new me, Nelly, can answer. And I will do that by using different techniques and aspects. So I will keep sharing with you because this is just the beginning of my self-growth challenge, obviously. And I'm kind of loving that it didn't go the way I expected because it just shows me how much there is to be learned by myself or to be learned about who I am up there and how the mind actually works. And the ego is a sneaky little thing. It makes me think that I'm onto something new and good sometimes, but it's just kind of the ego in disguise. But I see you, ego, and I will observe you, Olga. I'll see you. Okay. So if you want to keep joining me in my self-growth challenge to maybe learn new stuff and get some new techniques for your own well-being as well, stay tuned. And if you just came across my channel today, my whole playlist with my 4 weeks growth challenge is gathered here, so just check that out if you want to. Thank you for staying with me this far, and I will see you soon.